My name is Tim Yandila. I'm an academic advisor here at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. I am also the African American Caribbean American Student Association advisor. I'm originally from Zambia. I was born in the Republic of Zambia, which used to be a British colony. It's made up of upwards of 30 different individual and specific tribes with their own languages and their own heritage. And my father is Ngoni, my mother is Tonga, so they're two different tribes. So that was an interesting experience growing up. Never really fit in at home. And that was probably the first experience with diversity as far as I'm concerned. Just really trying to understand and navigate the rules for different tribes. And yeah, wonderful experience.
My name is Raven Mitchell. I am in the Digital Media Technology program, and I am also a member of the African American Caribbean American Student Association. My mom is half Native American and half African American, and my dad is just full African American. So I get to experience both sides because my grandma is full Native American, and my mom used to tell me these stories when she grew up. Like, it wasn't very easy for her because she was half Native American, half African American. She didn't feel as accepted around her community as I feel now.
So thinking about a time when I was young, when I first became aware of maybe something that would later become a concept for me for diversity, and a real concrete example was when I first found out that my parents being of two different tribes, that their being together wasn't necessarily something that was easy to have happen. And the real irony with all of this is that my grandmother on my mother's side was a missionary from West Virginia. But because my father was an Ngoni man, and because Claudia in her own way had adopted the life of the Tonga people, she was very suspicious of my father's intentions. And so it took a lot of convincing on her part. But that moment for me is when I would listen to my parents talk about all the funny things they would have to do to really get her, my grandmother, to get her comfortable with this idea that as an Ngoni, he will take care of her, even though she's Tonga. Which is a big deal back home because traditionally the tribes haven't gotten along. So yeah, what's really funny is that in the middle of it, you've got this really small white woman from West Virginia trying to mitigate everything. Okay.
Diversity in my own family, I would have to say, is very, very wide. I have just about a little bit of everything in my family, going from Native American to African American to Mexican and Hispanic, and the list just really goes on and on. Some of the things that I enjoy most about having such a diverse family is the different kinds of experiences and foods and just the cultural backgrounds that I get to learn about from everybody in my family.
What are some things that I remember celebrating with my family? My most fond memories are Christmas and just being together underneath a tree and no snow outside, warm weather, and the ability to get together with other members of the extended family for a meal that you would have more like a picnic outside around Christmas time. That's something I really do miss about my childhood. I also really enjoyed the way weddings would work back home, which are always a very special time for anybody, right? So no matter where you go in the world, a wedding is a wonderful celebration. But there's just such a sense of community to weddings. In the Republic of Zambia, there's just maybe a greater deal of an expectation that It's not just going to be the couple that helps in the preparation, but everybody in their extended family. So weddings are something else that I miss as far as celebrations and the amount of time and effort it would take to bring everybody together. Always a lot of fun.
My grandma's half Banan, half Oneida. So when my aunt passed away, I got to experience a very different and very interesting funeral for her. Part of that culture is that when someone passes away, only the men in the family tend to a fire that I was told helps lead her through and to the other side, and it's a really interesting experience to learn about. So I thought that was pretty cool that I got to experience that. And then on my dad's side, when my grandma passed away, it was the traditional funeral, nothing out of the ordinary, I guess. Nothing very different about that funeral that separates it from the funerals that I've seen on TV or anything. But I think that the Native American funeral for my aunt was just very unique and very different from what I've experienced before. So I thought that was really, really cool.
I have a very distinct memory of a moment when I realized that my experience on this earth was very specific to how a certain small group of people approach a particular life event. And it's when my father's sister passed away. I've been to funerals before, but what was so unusual about this is that we got together at the family homestead, and every male of a certain age in the family, so all her adult brothers and some of my cousins who were also older, much older than I was, they were all gathered together in a circle. And some prearranged time, but there was just no rhyme or reason around it. And one by one, they had their heads shaved out of reverence for her. And it's just such an indelible image in my head. It's completely silent. And I think what I came away with in that moment was this clear sense that that's what an Ngoni man does when he's dealing with grief. And that's essentially something that is done out of reverence and respect for one who you have loved who has passed.
What are some celebrations that I remember having with my family? I would have to say Christmas and Thanksgiving. I know around Christmas, everybody's always happy. They're always overjoyed and, going over the top, buying presents for everybody. But what I really love about it is just being around my family and having them around me and supporting me through pretty much everything and realizing they're really all I need. Thanksgiving, I just love the food. It's fantastic. But for Thanksgiving, I get to taste so many different kinds of foods. So my grandpa's from down south, so he makes these little, they're like cornbread, but it's fried cornbread. Hush puppies. That's what they're called. They're called hush puppies. And they're delicious. They're so good. And then my aunt, she likes to make Mexican rice, and it's always really, really good. I love the spicy foods that she brings. And then my other aunt, she makes fried bread, and I love fried bread. Indian tacos are literally the best kinds of foods that I get to eat almost on a regular basis. Thanksgiving is when all of everybody in my family comes together, bringing their own foods, and we get to experience more than just the regular kind of turkey and ham and that people would usually have for Thanksgiving, but I get to have more than just that, which I think is really cool.
When I think about meals that were special for specific times of year, it's odd. One is a French dish that my mother used to make. I have no idea what it's called, but it involves taking carrots and essentially slicing them up into really thin strips and letting them sit overnight in a dish filled with lemon juice. And it's something of an appetizer, but that's something that always seemed to come out around Christmas time. And then she always made for weddings a really spicy bean dish, which I always appreciated. So she would put peri-peris in it. Peri-peris, maybe the equivalent here in the United States would be like a very hot pepper. But I remember having that with, really cold Coca-Cola, and would just do wonders for your mouth. Those are things I remember. So what do I remember about games that we used to play back home? Around the time that I was in 6th grade, there was a huge marble craze. Marbles were the in thing. You had all sorts of different sizes, and the entire school that I attended was just in an uproar about having marbles. Like, we'd wait for recess and go out and play. And what I really loved about it, again, was this sense that, here are kids who are from Ireland, from Scotland, from Zambia, from Zimbabwe, from Egypt. We all got together and just had a lot of fun with marbles underneath mango trees and guava trees. And so in the middle of your play, you could say, hey, stop, I'm feeling something in my tummy, or it's a little empty, and you could just grab some fruit and keep the game going. But instead of having, boards and boxes, we brought our marbles in small bags. But it was the dirt, it was the earth that we played in. And those, again, are very cherished memories for me. That was probably where I became aware of just that connection that we have to the earth. And it's just wonderful that it happened with all sorts of different kids, not just Zambian kids, but children of expatriates and children of expatriates who had emigrated there and had settled. But yeah, marbles, absolute favorite.
Kind of diversity that I see where I live. I actually live on the reservation, so it's not really much diversity there, but community-wise, I just see a lot of different people interacting, and it's getting better as I get older, and I'm starting to notice more. I'm starting to see people changing and accepting others, and it's really opening my eyes as to how my background is. I was born in Chicago, and then when I was little, I moved to Green Bay. So having gone back there plenty of times to notice the change in diversity that's slowly creeping its way into Green Bay, there's a lot of change. In Chicago, I could go pretty much down the street anywhere and get any kind of cultural food that I wanted. Here, I only get like maybe certain kinds of things, but now it's really starting to change, and now I can go to other places and experience different kinds of foods that I didn't have that chance to do before when I was younger.
What kind of diversity do I see in my community? When I first came to Green Bay, I was an international student, and for the most part, if I had an interest in maybe grabbing an Indian dish for dinner or experiencing something that might be just a little bit outside of the norm, I might have to look to go to Milwaukee or something like that, or Madison. And it's really nice now to see that we have folks coming in from Russia, Ukraine, Somalia, from India, and they're bringing their dishes with them, they're bringing their businesses with them, and opening up the Green Bay community to different types of experiences that we didn't have before. And so that's really tremendous to me, to see that all this diversity is adding to the experience and really creating an opportunity to get to know more about myself by looking at other people and interacting with them.
I really like the diversity that I see around here because I get to see people from other countries coming in as exchange students, and I think that's pretty cool because I get to learn a little about them, and then they can learn a little bit about me, and then everybody's happy. And I really just enjoy seeing other cultures and learning about other cultures and experiencing how the campus is growing and how diverse it's really becoming. It's really cool to be a part of that and to experience and learn about the different cultures that are here and the different ethnicities, and it's growing, and it's so cool to learn about, and I see people changing, and it's really great to be part of that.
So what kinds of diversity am I seeing on campus? I'm already part of a really diverse team of professionals. I also work with a diverse number of students, and I think more so now than when I first joined the college. It just seems to be in the last couple of years we're seeing a lot more individuals from different walks of life. So I'm talking about ethnic background, but also cultural background as well. We have students on campus that I've worked with that have been from Brazil, from Moldova, from Romania, and we're also seeing students that are coming up from the Bayou area. I worked with a student who was from down south, and that was an interesting experience as well. We all have students from all sorts of different persuasions, and in the sense that there are different views on life and different celebrations. So while they might be American, while they might be foreign nationals, again, it's just beautiful to see all of that happening. Clearing my throat, sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, my name is Tim Yandila. I'm an actor. I don't know if that answers it, but
You do good.
okay. Oh God, but it's gonna be super violent. Oh, okay. Let me think of a game.
Oh my god, I can't even say my name. I like spinning in chairs, but not this one. This one I don't like.